This is a recording of a person by the name of Gary Wayne Beck that was questionably, wrongfully sent to Chattahoochee State Crazy Hospital, where if the doctors, examiners, psychiatrists, psychologists, all them people, by law, they would have to, under perjury, give their diagnosis and understand that they will immediately be jailed, no bail whatsoever, for any kind of false testimony, and that if all testimonies would have to be done under tamper-proof video recordings, where there would be no baiting of the person, no drugging of the person, of any kind of drugs whatsoever. And they understood. And there would be signs all over the hospital. Hospital, what a joke. That would say, you have a right to be video recorded at all times. And that if these examiners were to found to have used any kind of words like the person denies, they hear voices, anything that cannot be proven by obvious layman's language, they would automatically be arrested. They would be no bail whatsoever for them. And any kind of diagnosis will be done in simple layman terms that anybody with a 9th grade education would understand. Because a lot of times what they'll do, they'll use trumped up words of where you can't even prove it. It's just an opinion. Examples are bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, grandiose delusions. All these terms are basically used as trickery by the so-called examiners and psychiatrists. Not only that, see, this is actually a conspiracy, because the cops, what they do when they know that somebody is going to beat them in court, this is when and only people that are going to beat them in court and beat the case, those are the only people that get sent to the crazy hospital. There's also something called malingering. That means if somebody tries to fake that they're crazy, that is an additional 5-year prison sentence. So what goes on is, if somebody is looking at the rest of their life in prison compared to the crazy hospital Chattahoochee, well, they're going to try to fake it. And this is the reason why they came up with this term, malingering. But at the same time, when somebody is, Gary Wayne Beck is more articulate than me, okay? And if Gary Wayne Beck has been declared incompetent, then I'm going to tell you something. Everybody else in the state of Florida is looking to get on that incompetence train and go to the crazy hospital. And so the truth of the matter is, once you get there, you are basically looking at 4 walls all the time. You are kept in a closed place, very closed. There's no books. There's nothing to occupy your time. There's loud TV going all the time. They got these so-called safety checks where they slam the door several times a night. So what happens is you get to the point to where you couldn't even sleep if you tried, and you're afraid to go to sleep. This is only a drop in the bucket of what goes on. There's something called the HIPAA law, which actually is a corrupt law that is designed to protect corruption and secrecy. The Chattahoochee Crazy Hospital has been there over 100 years. In the Civil War, it was an armory for the Confederates. Then it was turned into a hospital. So it's got a long history of coziness, and Gaston County is not too far from Leon County, which is Tallahassee. So there's all kinds of coziness that goes on. I don't think not one time has there ever been any kind of investigation, prosecution of anybody. See, this HIPAA law is not designed to really protect patients. It's designed to protect corrupt hospital practices. And this is really not a hospital. And then they call something called treatment. I think I'd call it more like torture than treatment. Not only that, there are dangerous patients that they use as excuse of, well, we have to give them the least amount of restriction. So you have dangerous patients that are roaming around that will hit somebody for no reason at all whatsoever. And you can best bet they'll have the recording, the video recording of where you strike back at that patient that hits you. But that recording of where you got hit, it just somehow or another just disappears. Not only that, they will give you drugs, psychotropic drugs that can give you tidal dyskinesia, of where you can have involuntary movements for the rest of your life. And if you do take these drugs, you will have the symptoms and involuntary movements to where you will not be able to control yourself. So therefore, you become trapped. There's a guy named, let's see, I'm trying to think of his name right now. Anyway, Glenn Canada. Glenn Canada has been there 30 years at the hospital there. He was there at Section D there. And he has tried to get out, but once you get in there and you take these drugs that they will force on you in your food, after you eat a meal, your heart rate goes up. And the thing is, this is treatment. I call that torture. And the thing is, this is if the state of Florida wants to save a lot of money, they'll close that place down. Because the thing is, this is there are people in there that you can have an ordinary conversation with, and if you try to carry on a conversation, what happens is you are poo-hooed as if you're a mental patient. Now, the thing is, this is not only that, there's an attorney by the name of Michael McCormick that has been there for many, many years. And there's something called a writ of habeas corpus, of where Gary Wayne Beck has been trying to get this writ of habeas corpus. And they wouldn't give it to him. Now, the thing is, this is, when you go into one of these places, you got to check your ego at the door. You got to bow down. You got to play their game. You cannot be in any way whatsoever to get on their bad side. Because if they do have a grudge for you, they can make things pure hell for you. All they've got to do is claim that you are a snitch, or set up a situation of where a patient hits an innocent patient who is trying their best to get out of Chattahoochee. And what happens is, as I said, they will egg this person on and egg them on and egg them on to the point to where they lose control. Then they diagnose them as being a danger to themselves or to society. Now there's a difference. There's something called forensic units, and then there is civil units. Civil units is where they serve the ice cream, of where people can go on trips outside, I guess to Gadsden County, different places around there. And the people are treated with more kindness and not like you're dealing with jail guards. In the civil unit, there are people that are committed for life. Nobody's checking in on that. There are many people. The civil unit does not have nowhere near as many people as the forensics unit. The forensic unit holds, I think, about 600 people in there. And liken it to the same thing as somebody being in a dog kennel. They have dogs, razor wire, double razor wire, and dogs that are there to eat anybody alive should they try to jump that razor wire. There are many people in Chattahoochee Forensic Unit that feel hopeless, that are not even sure why they went there. Another thing is, people who go through the program are told, if you question, if you act out, they will send you right back. And the thing is, the public pretenders are supposed to guard and protect the accused. They don't even question when somebody gets sent to that place there. And I don't understand why. Bay County, Florida is the place where Gideon versus Wainwright took place. That is the beginning of the public defender system. So far, what I've seen is the public defenders, they're basically there to try and get people to plead guilty. I have yet to know anybody that has had a public defender of where they've had a full jury trial. The only time that you get a full jury trial is when they know they got you dead to rights. That means that you unprovokingly did a crime against an innocent person. That is the only time that you get a jury trial, because that's more of the process of where they can get paid for. But if you are totally innocent, you do not get a jury trial. And the thing is, the day that there's something called a PDF oath of arrest and prosecution. It's a one-page download that you can get on any computer or any smartphone, and you can make copies of it. If all public servants, all prosecutors, all cops, all investigators were forced to sign this, we could prevent a lot of people from being wrongfully jailed on trumped-up charges.